All right, so we got Minister Farrakhan, Lil Boosie, and Charleston White all in a room. Now I know that I know that certain people who would listen to all three of those people for different reasons at different times. So that's really what I want to figure out too. Talking about the music, trying to understand why people listen, try to understand, what drives somebody to consume music. What do you think it is? What do you think it is that drives people to listen to certain artists, or to listen to certain speakers, or to listen to certain entertainers versus the next one, or all three? Do you think it has something to do with how that person's feeling that day? Is it something that they identify with? Is it all of that?
I mean, it's a bunch of things. Of course, you want to say it's relatability. But even in relatability, we can point out the flaws in that. Some would say it's just the sound. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the voice or the actual words that are being spoken, whether it's the melody itself and you don't even care about the words that are being said to you. Sometimes, you just like a person's aura so much. You don't even necessarily give a fuck about what they're saying. You're just infatuated with what they seem to represent. You know what I'm saying? And in mind you, so then one of the easy ways to prove that is so you've never been to Compton, you've never been a gang member,
right,
and yet all of your favorite rappers are like that. You might live a life that is diametrically opposed to that. You're completely you're from the suburbs, you've never gangbanged before, you've never shot anybody, you've never seen anybody be shot, your dad has a hunting rifle, all of that. But for whatever reason, this resonates with you. You know what I'm saying? Or you could be, the person who maybe you grew up reading. And so you appreciate the literary value in people who use words in a certain way, or it's just the half, the glass half empty, half full. But in perspective or an analogy, to me, it would be your levels of ignorance or your levels of intelligence. You could very well just be the person, I don't want to listen to nobody try to teach me shit. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't want nobody trying to give me no motherfucking information. All I want you to do is just give me something that I could just turn on, and I ain't necessarily even got to think about it. Even though every one of those words that's coming through it that you don't give a fuck about are going into you and doing something to you. Every one of them. You know what I'm saying? Your primary, one of your primary functions in this space is listening first. It's the number one function in this. Everything else that you might go through afterwards, wanting to go and do what your favorite rapper said, or your favorite artist, or go and drink their favorite liquor, or go smoke weed while you're doing it, or eat something that they said, wear something that whatever, you heard it first. So these words go into you and then they resonate with you. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, I think about that from the perspective of I used to go back and forth when niggas locked up about who my favorite rappers were. Now, mind you, my favorite, I like the wordsmith rapper dudes. You know what I'm saying? I love Eminem. I love Big Pun from back in the day. I love fuck Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole now, the Conway, various artists. I like the people who can use words in a certain way. And, for a lot of people, especially, amongst my cloth and my breed, they don't give a fuck about that. All they want to do is just hear some gangster shit. That's it. All I want to do is hear something that makes me feel, for lack of a better term, normal.
Yeah.
So I just want to hear dudes talk about going to get some money. I just want to listen to him talk about what's going on with him and his mans, who they beefing with, and all that kind of shit. Or you could very well be the person who's living a certain life, and you as an artist speak directly to what that is. I think back to when I was catching cases, going to prison. I remember who I was listening to and how I was living out the words.
Who were you listening to?
So so at that time, I was very deep into Scarface. I was very deep into, there was a dude named, the fuck was his name, man? I just remember the song that he had. It was hard as fuck. Left. I was listening to that. I was listening, but I was also in rapper mode too. So I was listening to Eminem. Project Pat and Beanie Siegel were probably my favorite at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I say it to say, I loved MOP at the time too. You know what I'm saying? I like the I liked music that motivated me to want to go do shit, and music that like I could listen to go rob you to. Like that was important. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the other thing about it. So imagine like, and in mind you, and I'll get to that later because that reminds me of how that connects to like entertainment and like movie spaces. But I'll come to that later and shit. But it just depends on what you want to listen to. It just depends on what you want. It depends on what you're feeling at the time, for real.
So would you say that you were choosing to listen to music because it was inspiring, encouraging you, or motivating you to be on whatever it is you were trying to be on? For instance, like if you were running around in the streets, like consciously, like I'm about to put on this artist because it's gonna get me hyped up or whatever, or I'm trying to like, I want to sit down and write, I need some inspiration, like let me listen to something more lyrical or whatever.
I mean, it depends. I mean, for me as an artist, for a long time in my own artistry, I was influenced by like directly what I heard. So even though I have my own experiences that I'm living out, depending on who I'm listening to will determine what I want to write personally. So if I'm listening to Jay-Z, I might be in a frequency that makes me feel Jay-Z-esque. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, depending on what's on my mind at the time, that only becomes the style that it comes out in. That doesn't necessarily become like what he's talking about, what I'm talking about.
I see.
You see what I'm saying? But that's just me. But then separate from that, I listen to a beat depending on how I'm feeling at the time. It just will lead you in a direction.
Yeah.
Like this is how, you remember, you probably remember Marcus. Y'all remember that dude, that white dude, Slim Jesus?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You remember Slim Jesus, right?
Yeah.
You remember Slim Jesus, right?
Excerpt in front of his shit.
Now mind you,
This is for part.
now think about this. If you know his music, but to know what he looks like, it didn't make any sense.
Bad Baby.
Makes no sense. Who's another motherfucking example? How we get to take 6ix9ine, right? The strangest thing in the world that number one, the numbers you're represented by could be these numbers, right? And for whatever reason, it got past everybody. His hair was always rainbow. Just like what?
Yeah.
And yet, what came out of him didn't necessarily look like what we thought we would get from him. You see what I'm saying? And let it not be forgotten, like that was accepted. Like that was accepted. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just like, I don't know. I'd like to be honest. I don't know how the fuck we get to like why the fuck we accept shit or like why we listen. I don't know.
I think so. I had another question, but you kind of answered it. But it's from the artist perspective. And you telling me like, because as an artist, you're trying to get inspired, you might want to write. That means that I might listen to something and they're saying in the music that I might not necessarily agree, but there's an element in there that's pushing me to do a thing. Maybe it's because it's not about what he's saying, but about the flow he used or the beat choice he had.
Possibly.
Encourage you to write a thing in such a way and then make, you know what I'm saying, take it, transmute it, make it your own or whatever. But as the consumer, I'm just still curious. Like imagine you're the consumer of a music for whatever reason. Why would you go and listen to something that you don't agree with? You know what I'm saying? And I only say this too because like who are the main consumers of certain type of music? Trust me, I'll be at the 7-Eleven or the Circle K or whatever you got, you know what I'm saying? I pull up and I hear something like, yeah, that's my joint, like, don't let it be a baddie driving or whatever. And then it just be the last thing I expected, bumping that type of music.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
Well, just with that specific, I learned probably 20 years ago that, I don't remember the exact figure, but we'll just say like, it was like 60-something% of hip hop consumers were white females. When you go to many of the shows that you should pop up in, like, or rather, not even the shows that you'll pop up in, the consumer, like the people who will purchase what an artist does.
Like the merch or the CD.
A lot of it comes from communities that aren't necessarily represented by the artist. or at least in the black hip hop community, like that's just what the facts are. Like, what was that fucking, I can't think of this movie, but it was a movie from back in the day, and it was like, the dude was like a politician, and his son loved hip hop, and it was like a group coming to town. It was like, they were supposed to be like NWA type or some shit. I think it was like CB4 or some shit. And they were driving through the town on the bus, and he running after him like, CB4, CB4, da, da, da. But mind you, you're the son of a politician. Why are you following after the group that represents like NWA?
You should be listening to political speeches and stuff, like, or you would think.
But in real life, like that's real. Like that's real in real life. The white dude who lives somewhere far, far from like a project or a neighborhood that's dilapidated, he has money, he has a family that loves him, he's grown up in a place where like he's loved. And yet you like to hear the music that's fucked up. You like to hear about the killings. You like to hear about the shootings. You like to hear, mind you, if that wasn't real, then one of the things that wouldn't have like been a thing on the internet at one point is like people who aren't black like rapping their favorite drill songs and saying nigga because it feels good. Because it makes you feel like you're a part of the thing that you're listening to, even though you've never been anywhere near it. This is as close as you'll probably ever get to it.
Do you think it has to do with this idea of like escapism through music?
Hell yeah.
To music to escape
Absolutely.
the reality that I'm in?
Absolutely. Now mind you, absolutely, escapism comes in many forms. And then I just want to just bounce back for a brief second. Mind you, because you said, why do we listen to things that we don't agree with? We accept things that we know are incorrect daily. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I just watched that movie the other day, Blink Twice. Y'all watch Blink Twice?
That was a crazy movie.
Now, mind you, as crazy as it is, like the part that's like the crazy part really only happens at like one time. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, as much as I hate that shit, I'm still gonna watch it. Like in real life, imagine how many, I don't agree in any way with any man taking anything from a woman in a certain way. But the reality is if it pops up in a movie, it doesn't mean I'm gonna cut the movie off. That's just what's real. Like I don't agree with the killing. I don't want any people outside anywhere. But I especially don't want black on black violence. But the reality is all my favorite music is black on black violence. That's just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
It's all black on black violence. All of it. All of it. And the ones who aren't that, as we talked about earlier, why don't they get listened to like that? Because the reality is we love poison.
See, but I think what you're speaking to though, all right, so in part of this is like, I want to listen to this music to escape. What you're talking about though is because I identify with it. Like that's something that I know.
Well, so then going back to the escapism part.
Yeah.
So then you take, we were just talking about 3 6 Mafia a little while ago, and the role they play in real life in drug culture in music. That's like double escapism because you already represent a certain frequency in which you are as a hip hop group. But then within it, you're also the first group that we heard say, drink lean. You're the first group that I can recall to tell me they was tooting powder. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that I knew people who did, but you're the first people sonically I heard say it. And we know that the primary medium for information to make it to the mind the fastest is over a rhythm. So even though I knew it to exist, it wasn't really like relevant in what it was until I heard it in a rap song. As strange as that is, for real. And so the escapism, wanting to be somebody else, living vicariously through your favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're the dude who has a hard time talking to females. You know what I'm saying? So you love to listen to Drake. I love Drake. I fuck with Drake. But mind you, but then mind you, maybe you're the dude in real life, like, so maybe you're Johnny and you want to shoot up your school. But this is why you love listening to Dirt. It's a different form of the same thing you want to do. You see what I'm saying? So now you live vicarious through the artist, or the artist in a sense becomes like an avatar for you to live out what you're thinking in your brain, and then at some point possibly go outside. Who knows? You know?
I think all of these things. Well, let me just say, like, I'm trying to uncover this, but I already understand that there's like multiple answers. There's multiple explanations for this thing, but I kind of want to switch gears just a little bit and say it like this. So imagine you got this artist, you came across them, they still kind of underground. You're escaping with them, or you're identifying through them, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to use them as an avatar to like get encouraged or inspired to go do a thing or whatever. Knowing that we live in America, a capitalist society that's like built on a lot of things, but like one of the biggest ones is like advertisement and consumption. Although these people made the choice to put this in their music, let's just use the 3 6 Mafia example, like that you mentioned earlier. What responsibility do the ad companies, do the record labels have for pushing that music even further? Do you think they just looked at it and said, "Oh, we see what kind of money we can make," and that's why they pushed it? Was it used as a tool to destroy certain communities? I don't know. What do you think about kind of like that layer of things?
I mean, I think it's all of it simultaneously. I think all of it exists at the same exact time. I think that it could very well be said that why do I have to be held responsible for offering you something? You know what I'm saying? Like, me, and in mind, let's be clear, me offering it doesn't necessarily mean I accept it.
Like,
it just means,
food, but I didn't tell
right,
you had to eat it.
Not at all. I didn't tell you had to eat it. And then let's be clear, like, me having access to a thing doesn't mean I consume it, doesn't mean I accept it, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it, especially if I have access to it. And so if I'm offering, the primary responsibility falls on you. But I know the idea is, well, the arrogance of society is that we all supposed to be thinking for each other. I'm supposed to think for what you want and don't want. So then the idea is that I become responsible for you wanting to go and do a thing. But let's be clear, like, drugs been here. Like, drugs been here. Like, drugs have been here. I seen an ad the other day from like 1897. They were selling, and it said it straight on the package. It said heroin straight on it. You could just drink it. Now it's called like opioids and Vicodin and Percocet said and shit. But back then it was what it was. You drink cocaine and numb yourself. Later it becomes Novocaine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can I be held responsible for doing the same thing that was done prior to? Now, of course, I get the ideas like, well, these things that we're speaking to are harmful. Yes, they are now in the forms that we use them. But the reason they even exist is because when we use them, we found ways to use them that weren't harmful. So it's like, we had access to it. It became corrupt, and so now because it's become corrupt, I become like, who's in charge of that? Which is how you get to the record execs who put out the artists who represent the destructive nature of what we are. Doesn't mean that they're not supposed to exist in this space, especially if we're sitting around and we're having conversation about, well, where's the conscious artist? If we're looking for a conscious artist, then
I was getting ready to say.
Like, if we want a conscious artist, then we have to be willing to accept the ignorant dude too.
Right.
That's balance.
So then, all right, getting back to our original questions then why is it an issue, or why is it dangerous, or why is it perceived as a risk if somebody who was on, like, let's see, more ignorance in the rap decides they want to be conscious? Or how come people aren't listening to conscious rappers? You know what I'm saying? Like, more openly. Why don't we have more mainstream conscious rappers than we do like trap and just kind of vibey stuff? Do you think it has to do with something on like why we listen to music or how we process the sounds? is it easier to process one type of sound versus the other? Is it easier to digest one type of music versus the other? And like why would you think?
Well, I think that, knowing that our universe is built on a rhythm, it's built on mathematics, and it's built on rhythm. And so to know that the body is the same, everybody's, like the frequency you were made from as a human being was made from specific people, so there's no telling what'll resonate with you. Like there's just no telling. There's just no telling what'll resonate with a person. But I know that, and in mind, this also has to be said too. Like, what do we even mean when we say conscious? Like, what the fuck do we even mean? Like, when we're talking about,
it's like a sticker term.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we normally use it to refer to like the person who's coming in here like on some smarty-arty type shit who came to like teach you something. You know what I'm saying? But really, consciousness is just awareness. And so the reality is like all of the rappers are conscious. Like they're all conscious. It's just levels of consciousness that you're listening to. Which level of consciousness do you want to listen to? Do you want to listen to Yachty? Do you want to listen to Lupe Fiasco? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to listen to West Side Gun? Do you want to listen to Nipsey Hussle? Which one resonates with, do you want to listen to all of them? You know what I'm saying? Because, depending on who you are in the world, you might have, different palettes for different things. You might want to listen to one thing while you're working in your office. You might want to listen to another thing while you party. You might want to listen to one thing while you drive your car. You might want to listen to another thing while you fuck. You know what I'm saying? And even in that, like you'll start to notice that you find artists who are similar to each other, even though they might represent different things in what you like. You know what I'm saying? So the truth is, it's too hard to say. Like in real life, it's really too hard to say like why. Example, very famous rapper named Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique has a very famous song called Dance with the Devil. The song is about a dude in his neighborhood who wanted to be down with this gang. The gang told him in order to be down, he had to be a part of like doing something really foul to a woman and then taking her life afterwards. And he said he didn't know that at first. They told him to meet him somewhere, listen to the song, he's going through the story. They get him to come up to the roof to go through his initiation. They have a woman there, she has a bag over her face. They do some foul things to her and then they dead her. The thing is in the song he reveals that when they pull the thing off of her head, it's his mom.
Fuck.
Twisted, right? Mind you, that song right now, when we separate from each other, when whoever watches this, pull it up. Look at all the places that he's been and talked about it. As a piece of literature, as an author, bro, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is.
But it's easily reduced to a rap song. But that's why the people who listen, those who are of a different, cloth of a certain, demographic in the world, that's why he's able to sit on platforms and talk about the song, even though it's so foul. It's so disagreeable, dog. You don't mind you to even watch a movie like that with, you've never seen it, let alone heard anybody say it. Now, mind you, let's be clear. That is a story somewhere, though, I'm sure.
He didn't just come from.
No.
Even in the rap, he says it's a story.
You see? And so it's proof that disagreeable shit is still agreeable. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. We love DMX. One of DMX's most famous songs is I'm Slipping, I'm Falling, I Can't Get Up. He telling you about his struggle with smoking rocks. What the fuck? And yet we still loved him. We were all sad when he passed in real life because if nothing else, he represented like authenticity. You know what I'm saying? Not perfection. And yet even in his imperfection, like he was still wise. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's about like the levels of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Like who and what you're willing to accept and for what reason and at what time. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is because Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique is famous right now to this day. And that song, It's, I think, at least a decade old. Probably longer than that.
Yeah. All right, brother. So wrapping up, I do have a one random question. I know this might not necessarily be your forte, or maybe it is. We'll find out. But kind of a curveball here. So, in final thoughts, after everything we talked about today, trying to dissect why people listen to music, the nuances in it, understanding that there's different reasons, different moments, different times, and then it's really kind of just a big soup pot that's always mixing on why someone might make the decision to choose you to listen to music. Do you have any advice for any younger artists, specifically in like the hip hop space, that are producing music now? I guess, do you have any advice for them on how they should find their audience? And or like if they're struggling with maybe how they want to project themselves, do you have any advice for that?
I think it's
pursue.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, you know, I let it flow. I let it fly how it's gonna be. You know, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking, that's what it is. But I think most important than that is deciding, like, what's more important in this? Like, is it creating good art? Is it being popular? Is it being trendy? Like, do you just want to be famous? Like, I think I think that's where it's not an easy conversation to have, but like, I think that's the true shit that like needs to be done. Like, what do you want? Why do you even want to do it?
Like, you should make the decision on what you want. And
Yeah.
like,
what do you want out of this?
% with that.
Like, do you want to be famous? And if so, that's not wrong. Like, if that's what you want, like, if you want to be rich, that's not wrong if that's what you want. If you want to be a businessman in this and be an executive, that's not wrong. If you just want to be a person, I just want people to hear how I feel, I don't even give a fuck if it goes anywhere, that's not wrong. Yo, even though, you know, I sit where I sit, you know, in regards, I love J. Cole, you know, but I have a weird stance with him just because of the Drake and Kendrick thing. But let's be clear, man. He gave us hits. He gave us great music and is riding around looking like he dressed, you know, himself, you know, at Walmart, even though we know that he could wear anything he wanted. Be who you want to be, man. Do what you want to do, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the best advice. Like, decide what you want to be and then be that. And if that's true to self, that's great. If it's not true to self, at least be the fakest version of what that is, the best fakest version of what that is. Like, if you know you ain't never sold a brick before, but you want to talk trap shit, at least make it the best we've heard.
Gotcha.
That's what I would say. Yeah, man, it's your brother Ryan the Deuce. I'm down here. Some of my guys are in the building. Marcus, that nigga's in here. Make sure you go listen to some of his stuff. We love him. My brother Sethy, the producer, is in here. Make sure you tap into what he does on the camera side and production side of music. Make sure you tap into my brother B behind the camera. Final words, home team forever. That shit won't change. Fuck what you might have heard. Beats Bodega will also live on forever. Fuck what you might have heard. It's just on a brief hiatus.
Beats Bodega worldwide.
Worldwide. Shout out to my twin face Defeat. Shout out to everybody who's in the collective. Anybody who's not a part of our collective anymore, fuck you. And I stand on that. Cause y'all be on some bullshit sometimes. And I think it's important to just address the elephant in the room, cause you know, we could just kill it and get rid of it. With that being said, make sure you tap into everything Ryan the Deuce, all music, all talking engagements, anything having to do with an event. Make sure you tap into Face Defeat. I think if there was anything that I needed to say to bring this thing to a close, I was once told by a man who I viewed as great, that to be great is to be misunderstood. Catch me later.